This is the most overpowered Warlock build in episode Heresy. You're going to annihilate every single enemy around you just by activating one ability. I'm pretty sure everybody knows the Consecration Titan build on Prismatic, but if you don't know, it's basically you producing tons of Transcendence energy, which will give you the ability to spam your consecrations. So just imagine that for Titan, but on Warlock. And that's what I'm going to be showing you guys in this video. So in this build, we are going to be getting our abilities extremely fast, and we're also going to get our Transcendence very quickly. I was running this build on a Master Law Sector, and the recommended power was 2050, and the current power that I have is 2012. And as what you guys see in the gameplay, I am just wreaking havoc on the battlefield. And I was also using this build on a Master Nightfall, same power level, and every single enemy around me just gets electrocuted and evaporated. All right, so without further ado, let's head to this Prismatic Warlock Lightning Surge build. A lot of people really do not like the exotic class items, but in this build, you're gonna have to go for it because of two things. On the first column, you're going to want to go for Spirit of Inmost Light. This perk will give you the ability to get your abilities very quickly, because whenever you use an ability, your other two abilities will be granted improved energy regeneration. So let's just say you activate your grenade, your melee and your class ability will have that increased ability regen. And we are going to be using all of our abilities to fully optimize this perk. So as long as you're spamming your abilities, each and every ability will have this perk activated. So when you activate Spirit of Inmost Light, the duration for that buff is 5 seconds, and you can be able to stack it up to ×2. So if you have ×2 Spirit of Inmost Light, it would give you 800% increase in your grenade and melee regeneration. And for your class ability, it will give you 50% for 5 seconds. All right, to make your melee deal tons of damage, you're going to want to go for Spirit of Syntheseps on the second column, because basically it would improve your melee damage whenever you're surrounded. So while you're within 15 meters of 3 or more enemies, it would increase your melee damage up to 165%. So that is a big damage buff for your melee. And for PvE, no matter what you are doing, you are going to be surrounded. All right, let's head to the Prismatic Warlock subclass. For your super, I would recommend going for Needle Storm. It's not mandatory, but I chose to go for Needle Storm because 1, it would give us our Darkness Transcendence energy quicker, and 2, I am using the Scatter Signal, which is a strand fusion rifle, to 1, tie it to the seasonal artifacts, and 2, on my helmet, I am using Harmonic Siphon just because of the energy cost. So instead of it being 3, it is now going to be 1. For the abilities, I went for Phoenix Dive for the class ability just to activate it more quickly to proc Inmost Light, or should I say Spirit of Inmost Light, but it's not necessary. You can choose any other class ability you like, but I went with Phoenix Dive. For your strand melee, you're gonna have to go for Arc Needle just because of the 3 charges it has, but if you were to use the Arc Needle by itself, you can actually unravel targets, but we're mainly not going to be using that. We are going to be using this aspect called the Lightning Surge. So whenever we slide and activate our charge melee ability, we would blink forward, calling down lightning strikes that will jolt them as you rematerialize. So basically just slide, activate your charge melee, and they jolt and they'll die. But before episode Heresy came out, instead of it giving you bolt charges, it used to give you amplified, but now they changed it, so now you can be able to produce bolt charges. But if you want to produce the bolt charges, all you would have to do is hit targets with your lightning surge. So for each enemy, it would count as a bolt charge, and you're going to need 10 stacks of bolt charges if you want to activate that lightning strike. And whenever we get a bolt charge, it would also grant us melee energy, and this is a melee build, so by producing bolt charges, it's going to be very powerful. And just by activating lightning surge, you are going to be stunning overload champions, and this is the main source of us stunning overload champions. And also for like lightning surge, we are going to be producing bolt charges, so this one will even top it off even further, which is dielectric. Defeating arc debuff targets will grant a bolt charge, so basically you're getting a 2-in-1 whenever you activate your lightning surge, because we're jolting them, and also whenever you hit targets, it would give you a bolt charge. And this is the main aspect that will make you become amplified, because whenever you have the maximum stacks of bolt charges, it will make you amplified, and also your lightning bolts will deal more damage. Back to the abilities. For the Void Grenade, you can either choose Vortex Grenade if you want to weaken targets, or you can go for Storm Grenade if you want to jolt targets. I didn't go for Storm Grenade because we are using Lightning Surge, so I decided to go for Vortex Grenade to give us that 15% increase in damage to that weakened target. But we'll get onto that fragment later. The next aspect you're going to want to put is Feed the Void for 1, grenade energy, and also survivability. So in order for you to activate this aspect, you're going to want to get ability kills that that will grant you Devour. And whenever Devour is active, it will grant you grenade energy, and it would also give you health. So for Warlocks, instead of it giving you half health whenever you get a kill with Devour, you are now going to be getting full health because of this aspect. And it would also extend Devour whenever Devour is active and you were to get a kill. So this aspect would help with our grenades to weaken targets even more often, and also survivability. So in total, we are going to be getting 5 fragments. Let's head to those. The first fragment you're going to want to put is Facet of Protection, because this is the main fragment that will give you the ability to make you become a tank. We're also going to be getting Amplified as well, and Amplified will give you a plus 15% damage reduction just by having it, and for Facet of Protection, it will give you a plus 25% damage reduction. But if we have Transcendence activated, it will give us a 32% increase in damage reduction, because when we have Transcendence activated, it would give us a plus 20% damage resist. So in total, if we have Amplified activated, Transcendence activated, and Facet of Protection activated, we're going to be getting a 47% damage resist. The next fragment is Facet of Dominance. This is the fragment that I told you to either pick the Arc Grenade or the Void Grenade. So your Void Grenade weakens targets and your Arc Grenade jolts targets, but sadly you'll get minus 10 discipline. So again, you can choose between the Vortex Grenade or the Storm Grenade, but for me, I would like to deal more damage, so I went with Vortex Grenade. The third fragment is Facet of Dawn. Whenever we get powered melee hits against targets, it would make you radiant. It can be your basic melee or just any melee in general. Your powered melee final blows will make you and your nearby allies radiant, but sadly you'll get minus 10 strength. So whenever we have radiant activated, we are going to be getting anti-barrier rounds and also increase in damage to our weapons. And the weapons that are going to be getting anti-barrier rounds are our Void Auto Rifle and our Arc Shotgun. The next fragment I chose to put is Facet of Balance, just to give me more melee energy, even though we're going to be getting Transcendence very quickly, but still, I wanted more melee energy because you never know. You also get Darkness energy as well if you were to rapidly defeat targets with Darkness damage. That will be Strand and Stasis. And if you want to get melee energy, you would have to get rapid kills with light damage. That could be Arc, Solar, or Void. But in this case, we're going to be getting tons of kills with our Lightning Surge, so no matter what we are doing, we're going to be getting melee energy back. And the last fragment I went with is Facet of Bravery. To one, give us unlimited Unraveling rounds to our Strand weapons, and also unlimited Volatile rounds to our Void weapons. Yes, I do already know that in the seasonal artifacts, we do have these 2 artifacts called Unraveling Orbs, which will give us Unraveling rounds whenever we pick up a Tangle or an Orb of Power. And also this one here, whenever we get Rapid Precision hits or Rapid Void Weapon Final Blows, it will grant Volatile rounds. All right, let's head to this Fusion Rifle, and it's pretty powerful this season because of this perk and also the seasonal artifacts. But this perk is called Slice. Whenever we were to activate our class ability, which is our Rift or Phoenix Dive, it would allow this weapon to sever targets on hit for a brief duration, up to a maximum number of targets. So whenever we activate our class ability and we were to hit, let's just say, a boss or a powerful target, if that boss were to hit us, they will deal less damage to us. And whenever we get a kill with enemies that are having like the debuff of Strand, that will be Suspend, Unravel, and Sever. But in this Fusion Rifle, we're going to be unraveling and severing. I mentioned that because we are going to be producing a Tangle, which will give us more of a chance to give us unraveling rounds, but we're going to be getting melee kills, so it wouldn't even matter. But it's going to give us an unlimited amounts of unraveling rounds. The next perk I went for is Control the Burst, to increase our damage even further whenever we were to land every shot within a burst, and it would also reduce the charge time for this Fusion Rifle. The origin trait, which is Dragon's Vengeance, whenever an ally dies or you reach critical health, this weapon's magazine will refill, and it gains bonus range and charge rate and handling. For the weapon mod, go for a Heavy Ammo Finder enhancement, just to give us a higher of a chance to find heavy ammo for our Legend of Akraa. We're also going to be weakening targets as well. I forgot to mention about that on the Fusion Rifle because I am using Particle Reconstruction. Basically, it just weakens targets and also partially refills your magazine and also increases your damage to that weakened target. All right, let's head to the energy weapon. You can choose any Void weapon that has destabilizing rounds and also Repulsor's Brace, but I wanted to pick this auto rifle because of the origin trait called Photo Inhibition. Basically, it just deals bonus damage to enemies with overshields. That could be like an Arc Overshield, a Void Overshield, etc. And if you were to break a combatant shield, it will disorient them. But if you were to break an enemy shield, which is Void, it would also disorient nearby enemies. Okay, let's head to the perks. On the third column, it comes with the stabilizing rounds. It did get a buff. So instead of destabilizing rounds having a cooldown of 4.5 seconds, it is now 1.5 seconds. And it would also grant you volatile rounds as well. And if you have it enhanced, enhanced, it would be 6 seconds, and if it's not enhanced, it would be 5 seconds. And by having that certain amount of time, you're not going to be having a chance to stun that anti-barrier champion just by having the stabilizing rounds. So that's why I put the fragment, which is Facet of Bravery, to give us a higher of an uptime or timer for volatile rounds. And for the next perk is Repulsor's Brace. This one will give us a void overshield whenever we were to get kills with a void and debuffed enemy that could be suppressed and volatile. But in this case, it's volatile. And if this is enhanced, it will last longer. But if you do have this void hand cannon, which is the Ward of Crota, this one is pretty powerful too, but in my personal opinion, I don't like the RPM of it, which is a 180, but the origin trait is really good because this is a melee build and it's Cursed Thrall. After defeating a target with a melee attack, final blows with this weapon will cause the target to explode for a short duration. For the exotic weapon I chose to put is the Legend of Akraa. This is a heavy arc shotgun. The only thing why I chose to put this is because of the catalyst, because it comes with Trench Barrel, because after a successful melee hit, this weapon gains increased damage, handling, and reload speed for a short duration, or until 3 shots are fired. So you can either activate this with your basic melee hit, your Arcane Needle, or the Lightning Surge. So I would recommend whenever you see a champion or anyone like that, like a big enemy, be sure to pull out the Legend of Akraa, then either activate any of those 3 melee abilities. For me, I would prefer Lightning Surge to give you anti-barrier rounds because we are getting Radiant for that melee hit if you are dealing with an anti-barrier champion. Once the champion bubble shows up, you have that anti-barrier ready, hit him with the Akraa and he'll fall over. And they also did buff Legend of Akraa as well. They buff like the bullet spread and some other stuff. It just makes it more accurate towards targets. And also be sure to keep that in mind that the handling is 0, so it's going to take forever to swap. But if you would like to, on the gauntlets, instead of putting impact induction, I am running double heavy-handed because it's a melee build, you can go for Arc Dexterity. Yeah, it will be expensive, but if you do care about the handling, put Arc Dexterity to make your Legend of Akraa swap faster. And also the catalyst will give you more ammo in the reserves. The perk for the shotgun is kind of schmeat, but it's called Long March. It basically detects enemies from your radar even farther away. And we are going to be stunning every single champion for this build. So by having Defibrillating Blast, stunning a champion will grant maximum stacks of Bolt Charge, triggering an Arc Bolt that heals you and jolts combatants that it damages. Let's head to the stats for this build. For every PvE build, go for Resilience to give you that 30% damage reduction if you have tier 10 Resilience. And for your second stat, I would recommend going for either Discipline or Strength. But in my personal opinion, I went for Discipline just to decrease the cooldown for your grenades to get it even more faster because of Feed the Void. All right, here is all of the armor mods I am using for this build. You can change it up as you please, but here's what I was using for all of these armor mods for the build. Let me show you guys the gameplay loop for this build. You're first going to want to activate your Lightning Surge to blink forward to that enemy, to jolt them and produce Bolt Charges. Once you use up all of your Lightning Surges, you can use your class ability and your grenade, but for your grenade, be sure to hit that target to activate Spirit of Inmost Light. Once that is done, use your weapons to generate Transcendence energy, and once that is ready, activate it and spam your abilities and your super non-stop and rinse and repeat. If you guys did enjoy this build video, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that like and sub button. If you'd like to check out the build for yourself, the dim loadout link will be in the description. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, evening, or afternoon. Take care and peace.